Okay, here we go. Second to last video before the vacation starts. So we'll make it a good one. I got this one, the commute to work, and then the commute back from work, and then I am vacation bound. I still feel like I have a whole heck of a lot of preparations to do. So I did not wind up, I did not wind up cleaning out the SD card last night. I was debating upon doing that, but then I was like, well, I got 2 more videos to make. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make this one, make the video of me going back, and then I will sit down in front of my computer and port all the files that aren't already on my hard drive, and then I'm going to have to do a very strict and hard delete. And just delete anything that I can live without losing. And then from there, I'm going to need to get the camera, the new camera, and I'm going to have to do a hard delete on that one as well. I have a 250 in this one, since I'm doing my primary amount of recording on this cam still. And then I have the 32 gig in my new camera. And for the vacation, I intend to swap them. Like, I'll still probably bring the camcorder with me. One thing that I need to get used to with the new camera versus this camera is the zoom feature. So, unless I am mistaken, there is not a zoom feature on the new camera. And I don't know if maybe it's like lens specific and certain lenses zoom more than others, because that's what I've noticed is the lens itself does zoom, but I don't know. So this whole like fancy camera thing is new to me. I'm still learning that, and I don't necessarily have very many people to talk to about it. I have like one buddy who is into photography, and he could probably help me out, but he's not as available to talk to as he once was. And so, but one of these days I'll pin him against the wall and be like, hey, answer my questions now, son. And so we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited to get to use it, because I feel like right now that I've bought this new camera and have hardly even touched the thing. And so I think for sure it'll be good to have the opportunity to actually break it out and to use it. I need to remember to bring multiple chargers, because I don't have the ways to easily charge the batteries on that thing. I also really need to test the footage that I've made with it, because I don't know how good its mic is. I assume it's a pretty decent mic. It came with a mic, and like generally speaking, any mic's going to be better than the mic that came with your camera. But I say that, but I'm using the mic that came with this camera. These last couple videos have all been on this mic, because I don't feel like changing the battery of the wireless mics, and because the wireless mics are still in my glove box, and I keep forgetting that they're there, and which means I forget to change their batteries, and it's a whole thing. But at any rate, I feel like this camera's got a decent enough microphone on it. I'm sure the newer and improved camera also has a decent enough microphone on it, but I'm not so guilty about it that I did feel bad about using this mic that came with it. And that's kind of why I bought the creator pack. I bought this creator pack with this camera because of all the cool doodads that came with it, and it'd be kind of silly if I didn't use all the doodads that came with it. There's a small baby tripod that came with it, and that so far has been like the king of features for my new camera, and I can really get up close and in depth with some of these recordings thanks to that tripod. It's just, I don't know, it's smaller, and it gives me a lot more angles than this one does. And so it's been, like I said, that piece alone has been worth the money spent, but I'm hoping the microphone does a good job. I really want to start digging into the footage off of that camera whenever I whenever I start to take all this stuff off of the respective SD cards. And the reason being is because I'm afraid that, like, even if the camera is filming better footage, like, if I'm filtering it all through the same editing software, will it make a difference? Like, I don't know. I'm feeling like the raw footage will still make a difference. I feel like that's the obvious answer. But there's all the other idea of the fact that I'm, like, now going to be filming videos with 2 different cameras. And so I don't know if I should probably apply, like, a filter so that it's less obvious that I'm filming with 2 different cameras. I've been using Pinnacle Video software since I was a sophomore in high school, and I like the service. The biggest thing that I like about it is that it's not a monthly payment. Like, I know, what is it, Adobe Photoshop or whatever people use to, like, the popular Adobe program for video editing is a monthly subscription, and I really hate that. I hate that everything in the world is just like, pay a monthly fee to use this service instead of pay a one-time fee to use this service. And it's all about money. People are wanting to make more money, so they're charging us more money. I'm really strongly against Microsoft Word being a monthly based subscription, because it's like being able to write on your computers feels like something that should come with the computer. And so the fact that now I have to pay a monthly subscription for it is a little bit bonkers. And, like, I guess, is Notepad still a thing? Because I guess I could just use Notepad if I needed to write on my computer and not have a monthly subscription. But I don't know. It's a frustrating world we live in where everything is subscription based, and they're like, pay X amount of dollars a month to be able to do this. And I always joke, but, like, if I ever get a deal with, like, a company, like, if I get a deal as an author with a company, I'll make them pay my monthly Microsoft Word subscription, because that's just silly to me. It's to be like, oh, you gotta pay to be able to write stuff. And, like, I look at Brandon Sanderson a lot. I look at a lot of his work and look up to him kind of as a person. And he does a lot of things, like, for the industry. And so I think if I ever got on his level, I would probably develop my own, like, writing software and give it away for free. Like, there's no reason why people should have to pay for these things. And it's just like, I feel like that's a big deal with, like, being an individual who has wealth and power in the society, and, like, what you choose to do with your wealth and power. And, like, it doesn't make sense to sacrifice your wealth. That's silly. Like, you worked hard to be that comfortable in life. Don't give it up. But to the same end, don't not do anything with it either. And don't make, like, your entire life's goals just to make yourself richer, because eventually you reach a point where there's, like, the future generations past you aren't even going to have to worry about anything. So, and I get that's part of the goal too, is, like, you don't want your kids or your kids' kids to have to ever fret about money, which is nice. But, like, after your kids' generation, after your grandkids, you're so far out there that it's kind of difficult to be like, oh yeah, this generation, this is the generation, and they don't necessarily care so much about you, and you're not as much involved in their life. And so it's like, how far out do you want this to go? And it might sound selfish, and it might be selfish because I've yet to have a child, but I'm just like, I want my immediate family's lives to be set, and then what they do with my wealth past that point is entirely on them, because I'll be dead in a grave at that point, and I don't really care. And so, but I do care that I can get the most out of my life and out of my youth, and try my darndest to do something good with what I've got. And so, yeah, it's just a very interesting web that we weave. And I was going with, like, wealth and, like, what you do with your wealth. I saw a story about Brad Paisley and his wife, and they apparently opened up a free grocery store Now, I'm sure there's like some caveat to it, like you have to be like some level of low income to be able to shop at their free grocery store. And I don't know how many free grocery stores they have open. I'm guessing probably just the one. And then they've also got now a free toy store for parents to shop at if they're low income enough to where they can't afford to buy toys for their kids. And that's two like pretty huge accomplishments for a celebrity and someone who you know has a decent amount of money. And so it's always nice to see people giving back. And so things like that would be really nice to be able to do if I were ever in that position. And like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are hip on like helping their friends or their immediate family, but like taking it a step further and like helping the community as a whole is an entirely different thing. And so yeah, been thinking a lot about investing in this land that I've got my eyes set on. And so I might call somebody about it here soon and be like, yo, is there any restrictions on this? Can I build a duplex on it? Yada, 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 such and such and so and so. Really just got to try and figure out what I'm doing with that. And I'm probably going to take my time with it. Like, I'll probably buy the plot, sit on it long enough to pay it off. And then once I have it paid off, start building the duplex is what I hope to build the duplex on it. And then once it's rentable, I'll rent it out and then try and pay it down and pay it off as soon as humanly possible. And then move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until I've reached a point where I'm making enough money that I just don't have to care anymore. And that is the goal. And I've been watching a lot of economic people who talk about like you've got to be moving forward with your money, and I agree with that philosophy, and I understand it. Like, throwing it in a bank and letting it sit there and die is not the modern way to make it in this world. Like, I can save a stupid amount of money and be good, but by the time I am ready to retire, like, that chunk of change is only going to go so far. And like, I feel like the biggest issue that most retirees have is the fact that they don't have enough money coming in, and like the fixed income is just not doing it for them. And so my thought process on the matter is I've got to find a way to keep money coming in even when I'm not working, that passive income stream. And obviously the books would be great. I'll never stop writing. I'll never stop exploring that. Creation on YouTube would be great. That I wouldn't say that I'd never stop doing it, but if it picked up, I could see myself doing it indefinitely. But if it just sits where it's at and never does anything, then I'd probably eventually give up on that. Just because there's less expression and storytelling here. Like, it's a different kind of expression and a different kind of storytelling than just the pure fiction that I get to play with when I'm writing a book. But at any rate, if I could have, say, a couple of properties and a small book income and maybe a small YouTube income, like, that would be great. And like, if it were enough, if I ever got to the point where it was supplementing my income enough to be the same as what I'm getting now, like, I'd be hard pressed to just up and quit, but I wouldn't be doing this forever, that's for sure. And like I said, my goal is 2 duplexes and do the same kind of thing that I did with the first one on the second one. So buy the plot, build the thing, pay it down, pay it off, and then just sit on 2 duplexes, which comes out to be, depending, like 4 income streams. And so however much I charge them monthly, I have to figure out what the going rate is. And then obviously, like in the beginning, I'm going to have to set it to what my payment is, because if my payment, I want it to at least make my payment. I think they said the goal is for one side to make your payment and the other side to be pure income. And then, obviously, once it's paid down, then you have both sides pure income, and that's gold right there. Because, like, I don't know what the average, but even if it's like $800, I feel like that's low, honestly, for where I live. But like 800 times 2, that's 1,600. And then if I were to have another duplex, it'd be 3,200. And then whatever I set it at, I can just raise it by 3% every year, because that's roughly the rate at which the cost of living boosts every year. And it sucks because, like, most people only get a 3% raise every year. So it's like, oh, your raise has just been absorbed by your rent by 3%. But even then, like, probably as people come and go out of their houses, I'll probably raise it or have to raise it or whatever, just to keep up with the times. But I at least have financial freedom enough to know that, like, I don't have to, I guess, if I don't want to, but I will cross that bridge when I come to it. Another thing that I need to figure out is whether or not I'm going to need an LLC to buy these houses. A lot of people have been saying that you don't want to just buy them all outright as yourself, and that you should buy them under the pretense of a company so that people can't attack your personal finances when something goes awry. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I don't know enough about the business to be like, oh, I would be a fool to buy all this property and rent it out without an LLC. And then I don't know enough to be like, oh, it doesn't really matter, actually. So probably sit down and have a conversation with my brother about that. That's more his forte. He knows a decent amount about that. And so talk to him and be like, yo, what do you suggest? What do you think? Probably going to jump on this and go on from there. There's another property not too far from here that is pretty cheap, but it's not at all, like, ready to build on. And so I was thinking about snagging that one too, honestly, and maybe building a house on that one, and then building a duplex on this in-town lot, and then try and get another in-town lot and build a duplex on that. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna be a busy boy. And so, yeah, maybe some exciting stuff coming. At some point in time, I need to find a way to fit in a family too, because, like, I've only got 1 year left in my 20s before I gotta start worrying about doing that. So this is a lot of stuff to be doing in my 20s, and I may or may not be able to do it. But if I can at least get the one property and get it paid down, and then once I have, like, a kid, I'll have a good idea of the cost there. Obviously, like, if I don't have to send them to daycare, like, if I could just stay home with them, then that'd be a cost savings right there. And so that would be, like, the goals. Like, if I could get enough property lined up that I don't have to work anymore and I can just have my children and not worry about that. But I think I'm a long shot away from stepping down from the working world, especially with as successful as I am in the working world. But it also, like, as I set myself up for better success, I can better gauge the necessity of it all, really. And so we'll see. We will see what happens, and we will see what the future holds, and hopefully the floor does not fall out from under me, and hopefully I can keep progressing in a positive direction with good trajectory, and eventually reach all my life's goals. And I hope the same for everyone, really. I mean, being honest, it's realistic to expect everyone to reach their goals, because if everyone got all their goals, then everyone would be rich and wealthy, and I don't think society would quite work like that. And so we have to kind of accept the harsh realities before us, but also hope for the best for everyone. And that's where we are this morning. we'll see what the afternoon commute holds.